we just stepped off the trail here and came across another wild mustard. Imagine that. And it's this nice big-leaved greeny guy right here, this lush green area. And it's growing right in the middle of a huge patch of chickweed. And we'll cover chickweed in a later video, but chickweed is also quite edible. In a salad, the chickweed would actually balance out the strong flavor of the garlic mustard. So let's take a look at the garlic mustard. As the leaves first emerge in the early spring, I'll find a nice big one here. When we take a look at it, we'll see that they do have lobes on the end, or slightly toothed but roundish type of teeth. And it's smooth. There's no fuzz, no pubescence as it's called on there. And the underside of the leaf, which we'll take a closer look at a little bit later on, is very heavily veined, very pronounced veining. And once again, the leaves tend to be kind of round. Some people will mistake this for ground ivy, or gill over the ground, as it's referred to also in their yards. But gill over the ground is very, very fuzzy, and of course is not the same plant at all. Now, when I eat this plant, definitely taste that bite of mustard. It's wonderful. I like this mixed into salads, or as a cooked green, maybe mixed in with some slightly milder vegetables. I think you'll find that equally as appealing. Now this plant, his growth cycle starts out as kind of a low trailing type of plant, not necessarily what I would call a pure basil rosette, just kind of scattered and spread out. And then as the plant grows, it will start to send up these stalks. And I want to point this out because what happens, and this happens with many plants, is that as the plant is using up that energy from the root and the lower leaves, which are shrinking, the leaves themselves actually change shape and become more pointed, just like this one. And so sometimes this can be confusing for folks. The stem of the plant, looking at it here, is actually slightly fuzzy, a little bit hairy. But then on the very tip here too, where the flowers will eventually appear, are these small buds, just like on the wintercress. And these are quite good as well. The flowers are white, as in the Pennsylvania bittercress as well. And that's that classic 4 petals, remember that. I'm pretty sure that's common throughout all the mustards or brassicas. Now, one footnote about this plant, and it's really important. It is considered to be one of the most highly invasive plants in North America. It likes to take over. And so transplanting this is probably not a good idea. It's better that we utilize it. Now these leaves, of course, we're going to experiment with collecting some of these leaves and blanching them, and then putting them in an ice bath, of course, and putting them in containers or perhaps Ziploc bags and freezing them so that we can enjoy these throughout the late spring and summer, when the plant is kind of not really that available. It'll show up again from the seeds that are going to be produced this spring and summer. It'll show up again in the fall. So we're going to see it in its best stages is going to be in the early spring, which is now. And then once again in the fall, it's going to reemerge. And so we get 2 collection periods with it, which is just really wonderful. I just have to have a little more of this. I'm going to grab one more here. Definitely a good plant to get to know. And this is just on the side of a hill going down into this pine forest. And I've found this plant all through the mountains. It's a very nice trailside nibble and a very substantial food source too. Not just really a nibble, but that's usually what I do. I usually, as I'm going on hikes, I'm usually grazing as I'm going. It just seems to be a good way to go. So we're going to come in and take a little closer look at this for you, and put the Latin name on the screen so you can do some cross-referencing and cross-checking. And we're going to continue. We still have a handful of more wild mustards to discover this spring, and we'll try to fit them all in if we can. Hi, we're back. To continue our exploration of our wild spring mustards, here's another one. This is referred to as field mustard. It's very, very nice, though it's gonna go to seed pretty quick. The leaves are clasping, meaning they clasp the stem. There is no leaf stem or petiole. The leaves are very mild green, very common. We're right along the side of a dirt road here, and I know that this area is clean. Now, right next to it down here is a plant that we covered earlier. This is called wintercress. If you back up to that, you'll get a good explanation of that. Much different plant, more bitter, but in my opinion, the field mustard is so mild that it's extremely underutilized. How common is it? Take a look up there. That's all field mustard, and it's probably just going to be mowed. So, when you get a chance, look outside, look in the fields, go to farmers and see if you can harvest some of their plants. This guy up here is doing some fertilizing or some spreading, but chances are that's going to just get cut and turned into hay, and which is good for the cattle, of course, but not so good for us. So maybe we can find a balance between both those worlds. Until next time.